dudes. I'm having a problem with my cucumber germination. They're trying to come up. Poor little fellows. We've got algae growing on the top here. So I'm gonna take these little guys and plant them into the greenhouse. Okay, so last night, I think, will be the last night to put row cover on these cucumbers. So these guys are looking all right. The leaves on this one are green and this one's pretty healthy. Like these guys are a little bit kind of yellow. And I don't know, this bok choy I've been kind of looking at, it looks a little bit droopy and sad. I think it might have a root maggot. I'm gonna check later on. Same thing with these guys. Like this guy over here is really quite yellow. And these guys are a little bit greener. So I've got a fiddle in here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the rest of these radishes and plant orach today. And since this bed over here is a little more settled, the orach is kind of coming up. And this planting I did, what was it, last week? So I'm gonna go ahead and plant the little cucumbers down here in the center with these guys. Mom has one baby with her. One little baby deer. Wonder where the other one is. Hi, Mama dear. Little tiny spindly legs. I'm putting this just a little to the side of the little drip line. So many rocks in the soil. There he is. We will make a little hoop-de-hoop. Underneath his butt. Around his butt. There he is, living in his new house. Okay, there's our buddy. Okay, happy trails, friend. And these guys are gonna do fine. Little buddies, I'm not promising you anything, but I think that you're gonna do just fine. I think I'm just gonna see how this drip does today. These soil blocks are nice and wet, because I watered them yesterday. Alrighty, I am seeding orach. Oakley dokley, all seeded. I'm now in the basil greenhouse, and I let that mustard go to seed, you know, and so there's all these little yellow flowers, and I thought, oh, I'll just leave them because, you know, the little pollinators might be in here. But dudes, it is so polleny in here, I'm gonna yank these guys out. And I also pulled the lettuce flats out of here and put them out where they're gonna be planted. There are all these little hovery fellows on these flowers. First time everything has seen sun out here in a long time. I also need to plant out my last succession of lettuce into this bed right here. So there we go. 1, 2, and 3 beds of lettuce, and I got my succession super goofy. These will be ready to pick not this Friday, next Friday, and these guys are way behind. I know I seeded these guys a little bit late, but that's pretty bad. And then these guys are just all brand new. Alrighty, so got that all planted, yay, and got a few extras, 20 of the reds plus 2 that didn't germinate, and 2, 4, 6, 7 of the greens and 3 that didn't germinate. So I think those extras I might be able to jam in this little bed of multiple things that I've got here. Okay, so we got everybody in here. Well, most everybody. Little tiny fellas, you can hardly see them. And all of the soil blocks were moist. The soil itself was moist. So I'm gonna wait to water everything in till tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to maybe set up some hoops and some row cover on the newer plantings to get them growing faster. Because just a little bit added warmth, even if it's just at night, should help. I think that's the plan. Tomorrow morning, I also need to cut, for the first time, this baby chard out here in this bed, because if I don't cut it soon, it's going to be bigger than baby chard size. So that's a little bit faster, just a little bit faster than this first bed of lettuce. I put little salad tubs over the top of the new cucumbers. See if we have root maggots. Okay, what do we have? What's going on in here? Little maggoty things. I've got my little 9-gauge wire hoops, so I got them spaced about 4 to 5 feet. And I'm gonna throw some Agribon row cover over, like I have here with the kale and the chard. And yeah, cover them up, and that heat, that warmth does seem to really help them grow. So that's the plan, Stan. Okay, so I've got my 2 beds of lettuce covered. So this is the first bed of lettuce that I planted. And as you can see, it really could be harvested, but that would happen, have to happen tomorrow because that's my harvest day. And I've not given anybody any heads up. Plus, if you look, the red lettuce is always about a week behind, so I really should plant the red Salanova 1 week before the green, but I don't know if I'm that organized. Alrighty. I'm gonna be cutting this lettuce here in the greenhouse, the basil greenhouse. I kind of figured I had enough to get to the restaurant, the 3 pounds of lettuce mix to the restaurant this Friday, which is tomorrow. And so I got a message back saying that, yeah, we'll take stuff this Friday. So I'm cutting this lettuce for my #1 customer and the restaurant. I'll show you guys later, but I was looking underneath the covered up chard and Italian kale and the other kales, and those look like they're ready. But I said that I'm going to have cucumbers and basil ready this week. Dudes, when it's cold, basil is not going to grow. And, but I see, since we've had a few warm days, that there's new green growth on the basil. So, the last time I looked at the forecast, we're supposed to have a few more nice sunny days coming up. So, and nighttime temperatures are supposed to get, into the 50s. So, zipping along here, harvesting the old lettuce skis, and right here. And this is the first caterpillar I'm seeing this year. Okie dokie, so I ended up with 5 pounds out of this bed. Last week it was 8 pounds, but that was because it was like an overgrown wilderness of lettuce. So that's still pretty good. And now we're gonna go over to the cucumber greenhouse. But what I wanted to do was grab this orach. Okay, so that's about 5.5 ounces minus the container. I didn't zero this out, so that's about 3.5 ounces of orach in there. And check out my purple fingers from the orach. I'm going to go ahead and cut, whatever, the mustard greens at the ends of the beds while it's still not hot in here. It's supposed to get warm today. It's warm in here. Feels warm for me. I ended up getting some of this from the basil greenhouse. I've just been breaking off the big leaves from the bottom here. And I'll bunch them up. Usually with bok choy, you just cut the whole thing off, but this way they'll just kind of keep growing. Some of these don't have too much slug damage. Usually my greens bunches, I do like 8 ounces, but in this case I'm doing about a pound because, these are really heavy things. Okay, so I have not looked I've peeked under here. But this is going to be my big kale reveal. Oh. Oh my goodness. I peeked and they look big. So we are going to cut a few of these for my #1 customer. Okay, so here is the kale and chard. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can definitely start selling this. I could have sold it this week for sure. I've got a lot of leaf here. Little guy on the outside, big guy on the inside. Okay, so we got a little over 8 ounces on the kale bunch, and I threw in a few of these dazzling blue that have the little kind of purple rib. Pretty. Oakley dokley. So we got 2 bunches there. And so over here by the kale and chard, at the very corner of the garden, we have our pot of mint. These are just have so much soil splashback, lots of dirty leaves. How's that possible? Oh, I was gonna say, oh, it did. It hit 1 ounce. 1 ounce exactly. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do here is, okay, the root maggot fly shouldn't bother the chard. And even the cutworms, I don't think I remember them being such a problem on the chard. So I'm gonna leave that far bed uncovered. This bed here is I put out the larger transplants, and so it's farther along, and it's starting to kind of push up against the row cover. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave the cover off that one. If the root maggot gets it, and see what the cutworms do to it. But this one here, where there's a little bit smaller still, I'm going to go ahead and cover this and leave this covered. And so if root maggot attacks everything in this one bed, then I'll have this other bed. So this is really funny. I've had this big gaping hole in my row cover this whole time. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't quite know what to do about it. So it's just like, oh, whatever, right? So whatever wants to get in there can get in there. Okay, so this is my big old 3-pound bag of lettuce mix with baby chard, red and green lettuce, and some orach in there. And then I've got my 3 little bags for my #1 customer. And these bags are actually heavier. Instead of like last year I was selling 8 ounces, these are 10 ounces because I've got a whole lot more baby chard in here, which is more dense. But I mean, I didn't change the price because whatever, I have so much baby chard. I don't know. Anyway, so there we go. Headed out to drop things off. Oh my gosh, squirrel is drinking out of that fetid water. I came down to dump the compost. And squirrel was hanging out.